So a few days ago, we finally got our first look at what is essentially supposed to be The Last of Us Part 1 remake, and I wasn't a fan of it. I've made it no secret that I don't like The Last of Us Part 2. I think The Last of Us Part 2 is very contrived. It kills characters and how we knew them in order to make certain plot points work, when in reality it just makes them even more dumb. And The Last of Us 2 is just a game that I don't really enjoy, but I've also made it a secret that I actually really love the first game, and I think the first game is pretty much timeless. You can play it at any point in your life, and the game will still hold up very well, regardless of the fact that it's a game that came out 10 years ago in 2013. It looks like Naughty Dog wanted to rebuild this game from the ground up and fix some of the stuff that is actually kind of wrong with the game, like the fact that it is graphically inferior to the technology that we do have. Aesthetically speaking, the game does look very pretty. The team working on this over at Naughty Dog did a fantastic job for making the game look better than it did 10 years ago in 2013. The AI is supposed to be better. They added in a lot more foliage. There's some slight animation tweaks within rendered cutscenes, and also just idle animations for whenever you're actually playing the game. And they also added in a couple of other modes for you to try out, and they also added in some light customization for the characters of Joel and Ellie, and that's kind of cool, I guess. But I'm looking at this, and this really just feels like a remaster for the remastered version that we already got for the PlayStation 4, because that's all this looks like to me. It just looks like a polished up version of the game that we got 10 years ago. Yes, animations are better. Yes, lighting is better. Yeah, it does a lot of things, but what does it really do to justify its existence? In my opinion, it doesn't really justify its existence in any specific way, other than just being an upgraded version of the game that we got 10 plus years ago, almost 10 plus years ago. And the fact that they're charging it for $70. That's the thing that really gets to me about this version of the game. The fact that it's a 10-year-old game. Most of us have already played it. People who played The Last of Us Part 2 already played the first game. This game's existence just isn't really that necessary, and it kind of feels like a lot of stuff that they want to add could have just been patched in. If they wanted to fix in some of the stuff that's wrong with the PS4 version playing it on the PlayStation 5, they could have just made a patch to fix the stuff that's actually wrong with it. All this feels like to me is just a graphical upgrade, and that's basically all it is. And it ultimately just feels like a disappointing release for a game, and they're charging it for $70. The price tag is really the thing that kills this for me, is the fact that it's $70. They add in a couple of other features, one of the biggest things being accessibility options, and the reason why I'm pointing this out is because Twitter seems to think that the accessibility options are more than enough to make this worth $70, when I don't really understand that argument whatsoever. People shouldn't have to be charged for more just to have accessibility in the game that came out almost 10 years ago. I don't think that's how that should work. People shouldn't have to be able to pay more for a game that they've already bought before in the past, like the first time you did on the PlayStation 3, or when you bought it again for the remaster on a PS4. And vice versa. I just don't really understand the justification for a lot of people for saying that the accessibility options are really what make this worth it, because it's not enough. That's not enough of a change to make this actually worth purchasing. If you're wanting to replay the game again, just replay the game again on your PS4 or through backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 5. People have that option for if they have the PlayStation 5 console. And so I left the comment, and I gave my praise to the team working on it, because obviously the developers working on this and making the game look as good as it does, and doing all this other stuff that is mentioned in the video that they released a few days ago, they're doing a fantastic job. And this is nothing against any of the developers, none of the voice actors, the motion cap artists, the motion cap actors, nothing. This is nothing against anybody. This is me solely just talking about how there's nothing in this game, in this version of the game that's being released later this year, I would presume. I actually don't know what the release date for it is. There's no justification for it being charged for $70. If you want to release this game again and charge it for a certain amount of money, make it like $40, right? We don't need to be charging $60 or $70 like they are with 70. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me, considering that most of us have already played this game. And it's just really annoying how people are trying to tell me that I don't have a right, in my comment, especially when I left it on the video, that I don't, if I don't like it, don't purchase it, and yada yada. And I don't think that really matters, considering that I've already played this game before. I'm a consumer that's looking at a product, and I disagree with certain aspects about that product. I have a right to say my mind about how I feel about it. And on my mind right now is that it's a game that we've already played with slight features. If you want to release again, charge it for like $30-$40, but charging it at $70 is just way too much. And I don't think accessibility, graphic upgrades, AI fixes, and environment fixes, because I have seen a little bit of footage of the PS4 version on the PlayStation 5, and it looks like there's actually some graphical issues for that version of the game. It's just not enough. Charging it for $70, it's not enough. There's nothing here to warrant the price tag, and I just wanted to speak my mind about it, because I just don't think that it's fair for the fans who have already played this game, who went and bought and supported The Last of Us Part 2. People who are still playing the multiplayer for the first game. And that's another thing that people were mentioning in the comments as well, is that this remake, quote-unquote remake, it's really just a remaster of a remaster. It's not going to have multiplayer, apparently. I don't know how true it is, because I didn't really play multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 1, but people legitimately enjoy the multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 1, and there's no multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 2, and it looks like there isn't going to be multiplayer for this remake version of the first Last of Us game. And for a lot of people, that is legitimately disappointing. So they're going to have to play a version of the game that has multiplayer, unless Naughty Dog or Sony decides to go ahead and shut down the servers. And then what are those people going to do for wanting their Last of Us multiplayer experience? They're either going to have to eventually add it into this remake or into the Last of Us Part 2. And I don't know. I understand the criticisms. I understand why people are disappointed for no multiplayer in this remake for The Last of Us Part 1. Even if I don't really care for it, this is mostly just me saying that I don't think the price tag is worth it. I understand why people don't like it, and it is severely disappointing. And I feel bad for the people who actually wanted to see multiplayer, be improved and worked upon, so that way they can have a better experience. Regardless, though, this is just really weak. I don't agree with them doing this. $70 is too much. I'm so perplexed with this release, and I don't know why they're doing it. Well, besides money, of course, but I just am very disappointed that they're doing this, and I wish they weren't, but that is what they're doing, and I simply just wanted to talk about it and say that I just really think that they shouldn't be putting this out, but who cares what I think, I guess, because apparently I don't know anything. So that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, be sure to like, and if you want to see more, please be sure to subscribe. Go check out my other videos if you enjoy the content. Whatever. Yeah, I'll just see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.